Ramesh Srinivasan is a professor at the UCLA School of Education Information Studies. Joins us now from Los Altos in California. Great to have you with us. It was $5.6 million, wasn't it? It seems astonishing how cheap that is compared to the billions that the big tech companies are spending in the US.
That's right. And the reason that they spent so much less, interestingly enough, is because the United States had an export ban in relation to the most costly NVIDIA chips, which is what many of the United States technology companies and AI companies were using to try to develop their AI chatbots, their so-called large language models. So it's actually a really interesting story about how real innovation sometimes comes when you have access to less, rather than this myth of having infinite amounts of resources or the fastest chips in the world. They were brilliant in the way, and the model has been validated by a number of researchers I've looked at. They were brilliant in the way that they used open source data and open source input in developing their language models.
Right. The biggest concern, in reading, following the fallout of this, is over data protection. From names, dates of birth, email addresses, telephone numbers I'm reading, even the keystrokes as you type, payment and transaction data, you're pretty much handing over the keys to your finances.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly an issue. Chinese technology platforms are completely built upon the surveillance and extraction of data. But I would actually argue that many of our American technology platforms do very much the exact same thing. The thing is, we live in a democracy where we should get more answers and more transparency and more accountability than we actually do, meaning here in Silicon Valley, literally where I'm sitting.
Indeed. The focus has been on stymieing China, hasn't it? I mean, if you look at that presentation by Donald Trump with all these tech gurus around him, $500 billion in the Stargate program. But here we have it, AI round one, China wins.
It looks like it, right? And it's going to shake up the market, as we're already seeing right now. Of course, there's going to be a lot of short-term volatility, as we're seeing with NVIDIA and other stocks. But I think I think Silicon Valley and investors will recalibrate. We have to learn, I mean, they at least have to learn this lesson, that it's not necessarily a question of, astronomical costs of energy, cooling, astronomical funds to actually generate a pretty persuasive, pretty compelling AI chatbot language model system. Folks at OpenAI have responded saying that this is not quite as advanced as their models, but think about the cost-benefit analysis here, right? It's not as simple as saying this, but $500 billion Trump announces with all of the heads of OpenAI, Larry Ellison from Oracle and others, $500 billion for developing AI infrastructure over the next 10 years or so, compared to $6 million. It's not apples and apples here, but you can see we're talking about an exponentially more expensive status quo when it comes to Silicon Valley AI compared to what the Chinese have shown us. And I'm looking, a lot of investors and hedge funds are recognizing that their investments are likely to go more in inexpensive, lightweight, and less costly models.
Right, so what about the big guys, the people like NVIDIA who've had a great run of it lately? Do you think they found a new level? What does it mean for people who are investing in AI stocks?
I think the question, I think a lot of investment advisors are saying that probably in the short term, it is smart to actually buy NVIDIA because of the local plummeting that occurred over the last 24 hours or so. It's likely to rebound because, of course, NVIDIA chips are used in lots of different capacities. Remember, they were initially introduced as gaming chips, not AI chips. So NVIDIA is likely to have a significant rebound, maybe not quite to the level it was at as of before yesterday, but at the same time, I think all of Silicon Valley and certainly the investment world is paying very close attention to this, because if you can have the most compelling, inexpensive, quick to market language model, remember, these language models are not just chatting with ChatGPT or Gemini system or Anthropic system or what have you. These are the brains that are going to be in all types of AI systems. This is basically the brain of the system itself.
Fascinating. Ramesh, great to have you with us. Appreciate your analysis. Ramesh Srinivasan, the professor at the UCLA School of Education and Information. Thank you.
Thank you.